I put my act on PowerPoint several years ago. And the reason I did this, I don't usually admit this straight up front of my show, but I was an engineer for many years. And I realized in the age of information, we have all this information, and no engineer has really tackled relationships because the answers are out there. We just need to find them by good engineering analysis. So I have done that. I put it together. I am now going to offer the first chapter of my user's guide to relationships. And I thought I'd start with a positive one. Everybody's talked about the key to relationships. I believe this is the key. Oh, by the way, your results may vary. I believe this is the key to a good relationship, a long relationship. Your spouse's looks and your vision need to deteriorate at exactly the same rate. If that can manage to happen, I can always look at my wife and go, "You're as beautiful as the day I met you." Now let's look into some of the more challenging parts of relationships. I knew my wife was a great arguer, but unlike a lot of guys, I took the time to analyze why I was losing so many arguments. So I plotted the chances of winning an argument versus time, and it turned out that 3 distinct periods popped up. When we were first dating, I had a 50-50 shot in any relationship. I had no idea that is the best I would ever do. Those are glory days for a man right there. Those are Hall of Fame numbers, 1 out of 2. Because once I got engaged, it immediately dropped to 1 in 4, and then since I've been married, I am 0 for 963. I actually thought I won once. We argued about who won the argument. I lost the argument, who won the argument, so I won once, but I'm not allowed to say it. So I actually did, this is a true story. My wife and I were having an argument. I decided to flowchart it to see where I was going wrong, okay? It was a simple enough argument. I was hanging my son's mobile of all the planets, and I was hanging them all up, and I got to Pluto, and I went to hang Pluto, and my wife went, "You know, what do you do?" And I go, "I'm not going to hang Pluto." She goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Well, Pluto's not a planet." It was declassified. It's like an astral object now. It's not. She goes, "Yes, it is." That's where the argument started. Watch where it goes. So she says Pluto is a planet. I say, "No, it's not." She says, "Are you saying I'm dumb?" That is what we call a trap. Because if I say yes, that leads to divorce. So of course I say no. She says, "Well, I don't like the way you argue, pulling out science and facts, making me feel dumb." You are saying I'm dumb. Again, if I say yes, that leads to divorce. So I say no, and she says, "Well, you don't respect me. You don't care about my feelings." This is a trap in the other direction. Because I say, "No, I don't," that leads to divorce. So I say, "Yes, of course I care about," and she says, "Well, do you want to have sex again?" Well, that isn't an option. So in my house, Pluto is officially a planet. In fact, it is my favorite planet. And I changed the mobile. All the other planets revolve around Pluto now. So this, I promise, will be the nerdiest thing I present to you. In computer design, this is what I used to do, there's a thing called Boolean logic. It basically says if there's 2 inputs, A and B, and both are true, the output's true. A and B have to be true. If either one is false, the output's false. It's really boring. It gets funny, I promise. There's an OR gate. It says A or B is true, the output's true, and only when both are false, the output's false. Here's how I figured it out. The key, if you're not married, take out your phone, take a photo of this sex chart. This is the key to a happy marriage. This is a man and a woman. 2 inputs, man and a woman. If the man is wrong, and the woman is right, I started an easy one. That's an easy one. If the man's wrong, woman's right, the woman's right. Right? Makes perfect sense. That was easy. If you're both right, doesn't matter, a woman's still right. If I'm right and my wife is wrong, which happens every now and then, doesn't matter, woman's still right. And if we're both wrong, the man is wrong. Go ahead. I'll take a couple moments to get your phones. Now, a lot of times when I get in trouble, I'm trying to help. I was watching my wife vacuum one day. My wife's name's Laura. And clearly, she had no vacuuming plan when she began her vacuum. She would go that way for a while and that way, and it was horribly, horribly inefficient. And I decided I could help her out. I said, "You know, honey, I was watching you vacuum, and you could save some time if you just thought about it. If you went around the room like a Zamboni, right? at an ice rink, if you got smaller and smaller, you could finish in like half the time and do just as good a job. I'm trying to help you. It's more efficient. She said, you know what, Don? That is helpful. It is more efficient. You want to know why? Because you're going to be doing it from now on. Our ongoing argument I call the thermostat wars. My wife, like a lot of women, was born with no internal heating capability whatsoever. She's constantly cold. It could be 100,000 degrees. I'm a little cold. Let's put another blanket on. No, I haven't crossed my legs in 14 years. I like it somewhere between 60 and 70 degrees. She likes it somewhere near the temperature of the sun. It's ridiculous. Our cat has shaved. That's how hot it is in our house. And then finally, I'll end on this. I love my wife, but I can't stand to shop with my wife. And I couldn't prove to her why. She took it personally, like, you don't like being with me. No, I just can't stand it. It's not the way I shop. And I couldn't prove to her how different it was. Like, I got a GPS tracking device, and I tracked our shopping trips separately. Here's how I shop. All you have to do in this experiment is go to the mall, right? Here's the mall. Go to the Gap, buy a pair of pants. That's all we both had to do. Here's how I do it. I walk in the mall, take a left, take a right, buy the pants, take a left, take a right, and go home. That's it. That takes me 6 minutes and costs me $33. That's it. I am done for 2013. Here's how my wife shops. Same thing. Gotta go to the Gap. She walks in the mall. There she is right there. 3 hours, 26 minutes, $876. And look, she never even got to the Gap. Now, the stunning thing about this is she's seen this. I've been doing this bit for like 3 years. She came back to me with an answer, I swear to you. She goes, you're looking at that mall thing all wrong. Let's like see who is the more efficient shopper in terms of cost per minute. You, Mr. Smarty Pants, spent $33 in 6 minutes. That's a cost per minute of $5.50 per minute. I spent $876 in 206 minutes, a cost per minute of $4. I kicked your ass, mister. And that's when I knew my wife was the woman for me. Thanks.